Hey, everybody, welcome to Down Ballot Roundup in partnership with Leave No Dem Behind, where I introduce you to Democratic candidates running in local elections throughout the country. I'm Bryan Randolph, and today I am here with Representative Tom Keene, who is running to maintain his seat in the Florida House of Representatives, representing District 35. Hello, Representative. It's wonderful to have you today. How you
I'm
doing?
doing great, Brian, and please call me Tom.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. All right, well, why don't we start? Tell me a little bit about
Sure.
yourself.
I was elected just this last January in a special election right here in Central Florida. I'm a Navy veteran, spent 20 years on active duty, and I've been in the aerospace industry since then. And now I've gone up to Tallahassee, and got the first session under my belt, and I'm itching and ready to go back up and get reelected.
Excellent. All right, and tell me a little bit about District 35.
So District 35 is in Central Florida, and a lot of the folks obviously have been here to visit Disney World or Universal Studios. So both of those attractions are physically located just outside of my district. We have a two-county district. It's very large. It's one of the largest in the state of Florida of the 120 seats. We have a large ranching and agriculture community in Osceola County, and then we have more of the suburban feel in the Orange County side. Most of the voters, about 80%, live in Orange County, and most of the cows live in Osceola County. But we have a
All
little bit
right,
on each
and
side, though. We have cows in Orange, and we have people in Osceola as well.
all right. Well, so when you're out talking to people, not the cows, what are the issues you're hearing that are really popping up with
Right. So
people?
the basic issue that I've been hearing on the campaign trail when I knock on a door is property insurance. We have the highest rates in the country, and oh, by the way, those rates are starting to bleed out into the rest of the country. So if we don't solve our problem here in Florida, you're going to see it in other states as well. And then the other thing that we do hear a lot about is reproductive freedom. We have a amendment to the Constitution. Amendment 4 is on the ballot this year, so there's a lot of discussion around that too. We have a very bad law right now. We have a six week abortion ban, and that's causing a lot of problems here in Florida. And so this amendment would hopefully take us back to where it was prior to the Roe v. Wade decision.
Since you were in the House for the last better part of a year, can you give us a little insight into what it's been like inside the House in a majority uh, Republican House, and as some of these things have been passed, and kind of what it was like having the sausage be made and trying to work and get things passed that weren't terrible.
Sure. So the first thing I'll say is I was elected that special election. So when I got up, the session had already begun. So I was not able to
Mm.
participate in the pre-session committee meetings and really get a great understanding of the bills that were going to be passed. So when I got up there, I was sworn in on a Thursday right after the election, Tuesday election, and I was voting on bills, 5 minutes later. So it was drinking from the fire hose, that expression that people use, and it literally was. And so when I got up there, I was really excited to be able to represent my district, but very disappointed in that key topic I was talking about, property insurance, wasn't really addressed at all in this session. So going back up to Tallahassee, that'll be my number one issue that I want to work on, is getting this property insurance crisis solved.
Do you think that it was less? I mean, because clearly property insurance, I mean, everybody has heard about the property insurance issue in Florida. Do you think it wasn't brought up because so many people were focused on the cultural issues?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I will
yeah.
say that we spent literally thousands of hours on some of those culture war issues, and then 0 hours on property insurance. So I think it was the fact that it's hard to solve this, takes a lot of hard work, takes a lot of compromise, things that the other side didn't want to do. And so it was easier for them to say, hey, look at this shiny bubble over here, look at this culture war issue, than to actually deal with the property insurance crisis that is at their doorstep. So very frustrating to me. I was actually on the banking and insurance subcommittee. We spent 30 minutes in the 60 days that we were up there in a workshop talking about how we might solve the issue. And very disappointing to see that nobody was really working on it from the other side. On the Democratic side, we probably proposed half a dozen to a dozen bills that would address some of the issues around property insurance. None of them were seen in committee.
What are some of the ideas coming forward to address the property
Sure.
insurance
So there's a
issue?
national flood insurance program to today throughout the United States. The idea was presented that maybe we could take that and add a wind insurance component of that, and that would basically help those that are along the coast that are hardest hit when a hurricane comes through. That might then stabilize the insurance rates for everybody else in the state, because that's really where all the damage comes from and all the expense. You know, a roof gets torn off and then it completely damages, you know, destroys the inside of the house with water and rain. Well, it's really the wind that caused it. So if we can figure out a way to do that, that might give us that stability we need to keep the rates from continuing to soar. In the long term, and this is another frustrating thing, a lot of this is caused by climate change, and believe it or not, we are not addressing that at all in the state of Florida. You think that would be a number one topic? In fact, just the opposite. We removed the words climate change from all state regulations and documentation, and that's just nuts. So we need to have a short term solution, and we also have to be thinking about that long term solution as well.
Yeah, I think that people in the rest of the country see Florida these days anyway as kind of a big red monolith, and clearly you're an exception to that. Do you think that your district is different? What is different about District 35 that made you succeed where maybe others had not?
Well, part of it is the diversity of the district. We are very diverse culturally, ethnically. We have about a third of the district is Hispanic. We have about 10% African American, and it just that part of it right there is a key factor. Other parts of the state are probably a little bit more monolithic, homogeneous in their makeup. We're also a third Democrat, a third Republican, and a third NPA. Here in Florida, NPA is a no party affiliate. You can just say I don't want to affiliate with a party. Of course, that precludes you from being able to vote in the primaries. So that's kind of the thing I think people forget about. If they register as an NPA or an independent, the only thing they can't vote in a primary unless it's a nonpartisan issue. And sometimes there are issues on the primary that are nonpartisan, but for the most part, they won't be able to vote on candidates that are running for state legislature.
All right, so we've come to my last question, my favorite question, call it my softball. I would like you to tell me something about District 35 that makes it special to you.
Well, part of it is what I said earlier is that we have the attractions right here nearby, but they're not physically located in the district. So we get the advantage that they're just a few miles away, but we don't get all the traffic and all the tourists that would, basically we get 65 million, 70 million tourists a year. And so you could imagine the traffic and the congestion and all those kind of things that come with that many folks. So we're just outside of that. So when we want to go to Disney or Universal or SeaWorld, we're very close, but when we want to step away, we can step away as well. The other thing is the diversity, as I talked about earlier, of the district in that it's suburban, but it's got ranch and agriculture lands. We've got a diversity of population. Culture is fantastic here. We've got a lot of great restaurants. All those kind of things come together to make House District 35 just an awesome place to live here in Central Florida.
All right, excellent. Representative Tom Keene is running to maintain his seat in the Florida House of Representatives representing District 35. Thank you so much for being here today.
Ryan, thanks for having me.